Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Ethereum is once again retesting a crucial level on the price chart, while Bitcoin is continuing to consolidate sideways in the immediate short term within this price pattern, but also still struggling at this major area of resistance on the price chart, while the price of XRP is getting extremely close to breaking a very important level on the price chart that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bearish trend or a larger correction in the price of Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. And of course, on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have this massive bearish divergence influencing the price of Bitcoin on the larger time frame, so keep that in mind. But on the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, we're still, at least in the short to mid-term, playing out this oversold signal in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI. And obviously, as I've said many times over the last few weeks, the last time this signal confirmed in the RSI for Bitcoin on the 3-day time frame was over 3 years ago, back in around mid-2022 during that previous bear market. And what came next was either a sideways consolidation chopping around sideways, or a bit more of a bullish relief in the price of Bitcoin just over the next few weeks or so. And so obviously that has been perfectly playing out over the last couple of weeks, almost 3 weeks now, and could likely continue to play out for a little longer, maybe another week or so. But if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, of course, more recently, we have been, of course, running into this major obstacle here, this massive resistance on the daily time frame, still sitting in between 92,000 to 94,000. And obviously, that's the same area of resistance I've been warning about since before we even saw the first rejection here. So continue to expect resistance at this exact area that I've been warning about for weeks. And as for support, we'll likely find a lot of support at give or take 85,000 if the price gets back down there. But before we could even hit that level, we also have a short-term ascending line of support right here, sitting at just above 88,000, now approaching around 88.5k. And we also have a bit of horizontal support right here based on these lows, sitting at around 89,500. And as of recording this video, so far the price of Bitcoin is still forming higher lows in the short term here on the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, which for now is some good news to pay attention to. Technically speaking, this is bullish price structure, at least in the shorter term, for the price of Bitcoin. And once again, this is technically known as an ascending triangle pattern with relatively horizontal resistance, relatively horizontal highs, and of course higher lows, an ascending line of support. And so if we actually confirm a breakout, obviously right now we've not yet confirmed any breakout here, but if we first confirm the breakout with candle closes, for example, confirming above 94,000 and actually holding above that level, in that situation, the technical price target for a bullish breakout for this triangle pattern right here, the technical price target would be sitting at give or take 107,000. And we also have this area of resistance in between 106,000 to 107,000. So that would really be the major price target to pay attention to if we first confirm the breakout above 94,000, which once again right now has not yet happened. But of course, even if we confirm that breakout, we cannot ignore potential other points of resistance along the way, like for example this area of resistance sitting in between around 99 to 100,000. And obviously it's possible that in the imminent short term, for just a few hours or a few days, it's possible we could continue kind of just consolidating relatively sideways just underneath this resistance for a little longer. But considering we have this ascending line of support, soon enough this will force the price of Bitcoin to make a decision whether we're going to break this resistance or break this ascending line of support, considering obviously these lines are converging into a tightening range. And so in other words, if we're talking about the next 1 day or so, yes, we could continue some relatively boring price action for a little longer. But if we're measuring from roughly where we are right now to roughly the apex of this triangle, that is in less than 2 weeks. So most likely within about a week, somewhere within this area, we'll ultimately see the next major move, either breaking resistance or breaking support. And then once that move starts to confirm, that could be the next potential trading trading opportunity, which I will be sharing here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And so in other words, this is the calm before the storm. We're simply just waiting for that confirmation signal to get set up ready to go to take that next trading opportunity. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you're set up ready to go on a crypto exchange to take advantage of the next potential trading opportunity. Not financial advice, but if you use the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, where you can take advantage of some massive bonuses only available using that link. For example, if you make an account, complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus on your account. And on top of that, if you deposit say $100, you get a $100 deposit bonus on your account. If you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. So massive bonuses here, basically free money from the exchange, which is only available using that link below the video to actually make your Pinex account. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that link to take advantage of these bonuses right here. But if you want a no KYC crypto exchange, an exchange that I also use as well for long positions, short positions, etc., then for that, check out the second link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, because that second link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, where you'd also take advantage of exclusive deposit bonuses that are only available using that link. And on top of that, during this event, there's also a trade protection and recovery fund if you're getting liquidated on your trades. And so as you can see right here, if you're making your account using the link below the video during this event that's running right now, and if you get liquidated during your first 7 days of trading on your account, then up to 200 USDT in trail funds, you can potentially get those liquidations back. And on top of that, there's also this recovery fund. So for example, if you're getting liquidated over 50 USDT during this event right here over on 2bit, then you may also be eligible for recovery compensation up to 1,000 USDT, depending on your liquidation amount. And so once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take that next trading opportunity, you might as well take advantage of this. Check this out, second link below this video. And remember, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and right now in the imminent short term, we're actually just now flashing a new level of liquidity sitting just below the price at pretty much exactly 89,000, which means it's possible we could see maybe just a slight little dip to 89,000, maybe test this support right here and then potentially see a slight little bounce. It's possible we could see a move like that sometime soon, but overall we still have a lot of liquidity as well, sitting at around 94.7k give or take, so just under 95,000. We also still have a lot of liquidity right around there, which does hint at a potential breakout at some point, maybe in the next few days. But overall, not a lot has changed over the last 1 day for Bitcoin here in the short term. So taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance, and the same can be said about the Bitcoin dominance. Right now in the short term, not a lot has changed. We're still actually looking relatively neutral. We're basically lacking bullish momentum and lacking bearish momentum. We're not really in any strong trend right now for the Bitcoin dominance, at least in the short term, which basically means a lot of the major altcoins out there on average, of course, there'll always be outliers, but a lot of the major altcoins on average will likely be performing very similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing. So not necessarily having a huge altcoin season, but not necessarily massively underperforming either. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is currently retesting a crucial level on the price chart, which at least for now is still acting as support, and that's really sitting in between 3,000 to 3.1k. So that area right there for now is support, and ideally needs to continue to hold it as support in order to actually remain in this shorter term bullish price structure. Because if, for example, the price of ETH confirmed, let's just say a daily candle close below 3,000, and especially if we failed to get back above that area, in that situation, it'll be extremely likely we'll drop back down towards these lows at give or take 2.7k. But once again, at least for now, we've not yet confirmed that breakdown, which means for now, obviously still expect support at 3,000 to 3.1k. And as for resistance, expect a lot of resistance at give or take 3.4k around this previous price target, which we already hit, obviously. And above that area on the price chart, we also have a lot of resistance at closer towards 3.6k to 3.7k. And of course, another reason as to why we're seeing this slight little pullback in the short term, alongside the fact that, of course, Ethereum is performing similar price action to what Bitcoin is doing, and Bitcoin is struggling at this resistance, which is causing a lot of altcoins to also struggle a little bit in the short term. But on top of that, another reason as to why we're seeing this slight little pullback for Ethereum in the short term is due to the fact that we're still perfectly playing out that overbought signal that I warned about a couple of days ago, all the way back up here, predicting a little bit of a pullback coming soon over the next couple of days. And what we've seen since then is exactly that. But now that we've already seen a bit of a pullback over the last couple of days in the price of ETH, of course, this has well and truly reset the RSI out of overbought to the point where right now the 4-hour Ethereum RSI is currently closer to oversold than we are to overbought. Now, obviously, we're not at oversold yet, which means technically we still have a little bit more room towards the downside. So it's possible we could go a little bit lower. But with that being said, once again, we are closer to oversold than we are to overbought, which means we've already reset, and basically we now have a lot more room towards the upside than what we have towards the downside. And considering the fact that at least for now, the short-term trend here on the small time frames, like the 4-hour time frame, the short-term trend is technically bullish, still forming higher lows and higher highs. Of course, at least for now, this could be a decent opportunity to maybe accumulate a little bit of Ethereum. Not financial advice, but if you did that right here, obviously that worked out very nicely over the next few days. Same can be said about this and also back here as well. And we also have a potential hidden bullish divergence forming right now with higher lows in the price and lower lows in the RSI. And of course, the lower lows already been confirmed in the RSI, but ideally we need to see a little bit more of a bounce, a few candle closes confirming in the green in order to actually be a bit more confident that we're actually putting another higher low in place in the price. And if that ultimately confirms, that's basically a trend continuation signal telling us that we're remaining in the short-term bullish trend, and we're likely going to head back towards the upside with another move to continue that short-term bullish trend. And remember, we're also running into a major area of support right here on the price chart that I just mentioned earlier, in between 3,000 to 3.1k as massive support right here. So keep that in mind, but of course pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing, because if Bitcoin, for example, breaks down, that can also cause a lot of altcoins to break down and struggle in the short term. But for now, while Bitcoin remains in this little range in the immediate short term, maybe for the next few days, it's likely a lot of alts will play out something similar just in the shorter term here. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, obviously right now the price of Solana is continuing to bounce around sideways in the same sideways price range that I've been talking about for weeks now on the channel, in between this support and this resistance. First of all, this support is still sitting in between around 124 to 128, and this resistance is still sitting in between around 143 to 147. So continue to expect support at support and resistance at resistance, which means bouncing from support, rejecting from resistance, so on and so forth, causing a sideways price range, just bouncing around between support and resistance, looking relatively neutral in terms of the shorter term trend or momentum. And so honestly, not a lot has changed over the last 1 day for Solana. This is still playing out as I predicted weeks ago, and I continue to predict this moving forward, at least over the coming days, maybe longer, but at least for the next few days, we're likely going to remain in this sideways price range for the time being. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, right now the price of XRP, like I mentioned in my last video, is testing a crucial level on the much larger time frames here, which is at roughly around $2, really just below $2. So like I said yesterday, in between around $1.80 to $2 is a crucial area on the price chart for the weekly time frame for the price of XRP, because this was basically all of these previous lows back here for the price. This is really the major support for this entire structure in the price that we've been forming since basically the beginning of this year, almost the end of 2024. For an entire year, we've been forming this huge structure with really the baseline sitting at roughly $1.80 to $2 for the most part. And usually when we form a huge structure like this, if we break to the downside below the baseline of the structure, so if we start breaking below $1.80 with weekly candle closes below that level, and then especially if we fail to get back above that level, that is a very strong bearish signal. If that first, of course, confirms, right now we've not yet broken that area, but if that confirms, that would likely result in a massive drop towards the downside, most likely for a period of months, considering we're looking on the weekly timeframes that each one of these candles is 1 one entire week. And the last time we saw anything like that, a major breakdown below a massive area on the price chart on the weekly time frame, the last time we saw something like that was all the way back here. Obviously, we had this huge structure during 2021 entering into early 2022, and we had this huge baseline right here, which was at that time at give or take around 50 to 60 cents, and then we broke below that level and we went from around 50 to 60 cents all the way down towards below 30 cents. So the price basically halved over the next few months or so. And so just keep that in mind. We're now at a crucial area. Of course, we've not yet broken the area, which means there is still some hope here. There's still hope of a possible bounce again, like what we saw back here or back here, for example. But this is definitely a crucial area on the price chart, considering right now the larger bearish divergence that I warned about many months ago here on the channel when no one else out there believed me. The larger bearish divergence still currently active, still influencing the price on the larger time frames. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term on the daily time frame, of course, over the last couple of weeks, we have been playing out this shorter term bullish divergence, mostly in the form of just a sideways consolidation, chopping around sideways. But obviously, we're now looking quite weak in the short term, gathering a little bit more bearish momentum. Overall, still in this much larger bearish trend as a result of this obviously massive bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. And so overall, the bigger picture honestly is not looking very good right now for XRP. But we do have a bit of short-term support at give or take $2 and also at around $1.94. And really the final significant support is at roughly $1.80. And if we break that level, expect much lower prices and much more bearish price action over many months for the XRP. I'm warning you now, so don't say I didn't warn you. Just like when I warned about this huge pullback all the way back up here at all-time highs back at basically early August. You can even check my videos back then warning about this huge pullback, and I'm doing it again right now, warning about another massive crash in the price over the next few months if we first break below $1.80. So keep that in mind. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, right now Chainlink in the immediate short term is within this sideways price range, this new range in between this support and this resistance. First of all, we have this support at around $13.40 give or take, and this resistance at around $15. And so for now, we're still in that same sideways price range, looking somewhat neutral in the shorter term, not overly bullish or overly bearish, but technically speaking, we still have this active bullish divergence. For now, that's not yet been invalidated, which means continue to expect most likely a bit more choppy sideways price action as a very likely scenario, especially if Bitcoin continues to remain in this range in the short term, bouncing around sideways. Remember, a lot of altcoins in the short term will likely play out somewhat similar price action to what Bitcoin is doing, at least on average. Of course, there can always be outliers, but most altcoins on average will likely play out somewhat similar price action to Bitcoin. And so honestly, it is quite likely for a little longer, maybe over the next few days, will remain in this sideways price range. And then of course, if Bitcoin, for example, breaks out above this resistance, that can really help a lot of altcoins just in the short term, maybe test some of these other points of resistance as well. But in the immediate short term, once again, I do expect a little bit more of a sideways consolidation as a very likely scenario for Chainlink, maybe just over the next couple of days or so. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.